Kia ora, my name is Robbie. My name is Robbie, and that's all the time we have because the world is falling apart. Everything is going to hell, or more accurately, hell is coming to us. Forest fires recently tore through Nelson, destroying homes, losing hundreds of people their jobs, and costing the forestry sector $2 million a day. People's lives are being ruined by climate change now. It's happening right now, in the present, which is especially bad for us because the present is where we keep all of the everything. Climate campaigner Amanda Larson pointed out that extreme and dangerous weather like the fires, droughts, floods and storms we've seen more frequently here in New Zealand are just the tip of the ice sheet, and that's true. This is just the beginning of the hardest thing human civilization has had to go through since the first caveman discovered that pointy rocks make the people go quiet. It's a creepy joke. According to the latest report from the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, we have roughly 10 years to halve our global carbon emissions before we are locked into warming that could cause mass extinctions and the death and displacement of tens of millions of people. Now, that is extreme language for scientists. Remember, these are meek nerds, trained by years of bullying at high school to never speak out for fear of getting a bin chucked at their heads. And I would know. So I'll just repeat it to make sure. I'm fine. I'll just repeat it to make sure everyone heard. Okay, we have 10 years to halve carbon emissions before we are locked into warming that could cause mass extinctions and the death and displacement of tens of millions of people. Okay? But it isn't all bad. If we keep below 1.5 degrees of warming, we will only destroy 70 to 90% of the coral reefs. And we will only make 200,000 different species extinct. So it's all pretty bad, but we can make it a little bit less bad. We're an amazing species. We've done incredible things. We painted the Sistine Chapel and went to the moon. We invented poetry and made up lasagna, okay? If we can get our act together right now, we could save millions of lives. So what can New Zealand do? Well, Jacinda Ardern has already described this issue as the nuclear-free moment of our generation.
This is my generation's nuclear-free moment.
Let's do this, etc. Now, that is a pretty good analogy because it's an Armageddon-sized problem and it could be another chance for Kiwis to be a world leader in making shit better. Unfortunately, that dream is kind of a long way off. We currently have the 5th highest emissions per capita in the OECD, which makes it difficult for us to inspire everyone else to pick up their game. It's hard to lecture people about stealing when they have a video of you breaking into a car. Ardern has boasted about the government's $100 million green investment fund and the billion trees they want to plant, which are both great. But for real change, we do have to acknowledge the cow in the room. And yes, cutting our methane emissions will mean putting our farmers through a difficult time, but we set up this system that told them to buy a fuckload of cows, so it's our job to help them adjust now that we know that was a terrible idea. And then there's the Zero Carbon Act. That is currently working its way through Parliament, and it's basically the least we could do to fight climate change. But apparently, this mild chicken korma is still too spicy for the National Party. They keep saying, we're only 0.2% of the world's greenhouse gas emissions. Why do we have to help? Because being less shit buys us the reputation we need to save lives. And if saving lives is somehow not a good enough reason, there's an estimated $13.5 trillion market opportunity for the low-carbon energy sector alone. So we could get paid to do the right thing, which never happens. We're also one of the few OECD nations without a national adaptation strategy. Basically, a tidal wave is coming, and we've just started blowing up some water wings. Currently, it's estimated to cost around $8 billion just to adapt our infrastructure for 1.5 meters of sea level rise, and it's only going to get more expensive. And with all due respect to baby boomers, We're tired of you making plans that are just a post-it note with the phrase, "Hi millennials, I owe you," and then dying before we can track you down. So to Labour, Green and New Zealand First, the zero carbon bill better have teeth. It better be toothier than a dentist's bin on rubbish day, okay? And to the National Party, you better stand behind it so it can stand the test of time. If this bill doesn't get through Parliament as shiny and strong as a glistening bodybuilder, so help me God, I will start a small but never-ending protest in your living room. And you will have to explain to your extended family who I am over Christmas dinner, because I will never leave. This is it, New Zealand. Present tense. Today. This really could be our generation's nuclear-free moment. It's not enough to write, "Let's do this" on a goddamn billboard. Let's actually fucking do it.